Live. Hey guys, we are live. Looking forward to chatting with Kris and Neleh here. They have been to Costa Rica, I think, more than any family that we have worked with over the last, couple of years now. So you guys have done what, 3-4 trips now? How many times have you been down to Costa Rica in the last 2 years?
We've been down. We were just doing the math. We've spent almost 6 months of the last 2 years down there over what, about four or five trips? Yeah. 3 times as a family, as the complete family, and then she's gone down by herself.
With the girls' trip.
Gone down with the group.
You did the group of rivers, right?
Yeah.
Or the week of rivers?
Did the week of rivers and then some.
Yeah, we're obsessed with it.
It's been fun. And
that week to tell all the things, Jason.
Well, in the week of rivers, we got a funny story of how we met, right, Kris?
It's a strange story.
So for those who don't know Kris and Neleh, they have a corn dog truck. And I ran into them. I was wearing actually my T-shirt here, Amazing Vacations. I went up to buy a corn dog from Kris at this little Hooper concert thing that we had in the middle. I mean, we're in Podunk, Hooper, Utah, right? And they're selling corn dogs. And next thing I know is Kris is telling me that I'm not paying for my corn dog, and I got free pickles out of it, which was a bonus.
Those are good.
Pickles
are worth it.
And he tells me to come around to the back of the trailer to come talk to him. So so maybe expand along that and kind of what happened from there, Kris.
Well, we'd already been to Costa Rica as a family. We were there for a few weeks. At that point, it was about 6 months before that. And when you walked up wearing that T-shirt, I said, "Is that just a T-shirt, or does it mean something?" And you then brought up to me in a nutshell that you had just started this company in Costa Rica to help out these guys in Costa Rica that are just world-class human beings, guides. I mean, you name it. They're everything you could possibly want as human beings and also as guides. Mm-hmm. And so you and I mean, obviously there was an immediate connection. We knew something was there. And that was in end of August-ish, somewhere around there. Yeah. And then a couple days later, the 3 of us were on a similar conference call around midnight because it was the only time that our schedules gelled together. And you said, "God, this is crazy. You're the corn dog guy. Would you be interested in coming down with me kind of as a guinea pig trip to do a week of rivers across the country of Costa Rica?" And it was a no-brainer. So first week of October, and then you and I stayed a few extra days. We got to know Costa Rica. That was my second trip down there. And if I remember right, it was only your second trip as well, wasn't it?
You know what? I think it was my third. I'd been down there 3 times at that point. Yeah, so I'd done a week of rivers down there, but this was more of you and I went down, it was a special Pacific rivers trip. And so the guys had been around and they'd scouted a whole bunch of new rivers, and there were no commercial trips doing those sections. So we went down and had, those were fun experiences, a little scary. I think it's the scariest trip maybe I've ever had, a couple of those times when the water came up. And but that's why we did the guinea pig trip, so we don't ever do that to clients. But
you were smart. The waivers that we signed on that handshake were that was smart to do. There were sections on the river that we'd get done, pull out of those things, and Walter would turn to me with kind of a, "Did we really just do that?" I remember one time we shot through and he jumps up and he kind of looks at me in a half smile and he's like, "Yeah, that was a class 5," and we made it. And there were a couple of those, but that was fun.
I think the thing about all of that, the timing was so cool because when we first went to Costa Rica, I had earned a trip with my work. And so we went up there and stayed at a Dreams Resort, like at the northern part of Costa Rica. And it was pretty, but we extended the trip by 5 days because we're like, we have to see more of Costa Rica. Like for us, sitting at a resort is so nice. I mean, all inclusive, you have the beach and all of that. And it's great for a certain type of person. But we wanted to experience Costa Rica. We wanted to go down the coast. We wanted to see the wildlife, explore the different beaches. So we had planned to go back to Costa Rica when we met you. So the timing was awesome because we were thinking it's kind of hard because you want to go to Costa Rica. You hear that it's beautiful, but it's like, where do you go? How do you know exactly where to go that you're going to get the most authentic and cool raw experience? And so the timing of meeting you guys was awesome that you were able to jump in and kind of plan our trip out for us and, show us where to go and what to do.
Well, right. Our plan was we were going to take our kids out of third term. Mm-hmm. So pretty much January, February, part of March, and go to Costa Rica. So that time frame was already set. And then after our trip, in October, and then those months, what we ended up doing was we pretty much said to you and to Walter, we're going to be down there for at least 2 months. You tell us who, what, when, where, and why, and we'll go do it. Kind of be the guinea pigs again, and see what's good, what we liked, what we didn't, what regions were the best, so that people could pick our brains and say, okay, we're a family of 4 or 6 or 12, whatever, and we've got X amount of time to go to Costa Rica. What should we do? When should we do it? And how should we do it?
Yeah. It was amazing.
And I think if I remember right, you guys, every week we moved you around to a different location. So you were a lot of Airbnbs, you did some hotels, and we really kind of hooked you up where you did some videos and got to go experience even more things than most people would get to, right?
Right. It was more often than a week. I think all in all, including sleeping in a cave behind a waterfall.
That was amazing, by the way. You guys need to do that.
We were sleeping, I think we ended up staying in like 17 or 18 different locations, literally across the entire country in that 2 months.
And we stayed with local people too, which was really cool. You guys helped set up real, authentic, raw cultural experiences for us. And those were, I mean, honestly, we still are in communication with those guys still now. Some of the families called and River on his birthday yesterday, so that was pretty neat. But
awesome.
The thing about Costa Rica that we love so much, and it keeps bringing us back there, is literally the people there. Like, you can't get better than Walter and his crew and all of the people that they set you up with. Like, you just fall in love with them. Their culture is beautiful, and the scenery, like, you just can't describe it. We've been home for a month now, and I'm, like, already itching, ready to plan our next trip out there because I can't get enough of that place. Like, we talk about it every single day.
Well, we were 2 solid months in Costa Rica this last time and came home to this madness. We went from Costa Rica to quarantine like that. It was, talk about night and day change.
Well, the thing too with Costa Rica that I think is really awesome, like one of the biggest reasons why people should use a company before they go, is you don't know where to go. I mean, you can read a million different trip advisor reviews and whatever, but most of those places are talking about like the most touristy places, or the places where there's going to be a lot of people, where you're kind of farmed through these different activities. And for us, like, it was amazing to have you be like, oh no, let's not go there. Just a little bit further north, you're going to get this experience. So it was so much more real and authentic and just so fun. Like, you really see nature in Costa Rica in a completely different way. Like, I can't imagine getting on a bus with 50 other people and just being dropped off at different tourist spots. Like, that is not experiencing Costa Rica to me. All the beautiful hidden places and the people, and it's magical.
And I think as we're planning the trips, or the team's doing that down there, I think one of the hardest things that we run into is everybody when they're talking about a trip to South America or Costa Rica, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh, it's going to be like Mexico prices, and so in their mind they're thinking, oh, it's going to be super cheap, and right. And there are super cheap options. If you want to go down to Costa Rica for $1,000 or $1,200, you can totally do it, and they'll put you on a busload with a whole bunch of other people. But it's not the same. If you can just budget as a family to have what you budget to go to Disneyland, for example, and all of a sudden it's a different experience altogether.
Yeah, I mean, a couple $100 extra gets you an authentic trip versus, like you said, being bussed around and being told how long you have at certain places. Like, I mean, there's nothing more amazing than laying on one of the beaches in the middle of the night looking up at the stars, or sitting at a cafe in the night in a rainstorm and seeing sloths cross the power lines in front of you and not being in a hurry to have to hurry up and take a picture with 50 other people and then jump on the bus and leave. Like, you really see the magic when you're able to just be and stay put and just feel it and see it and experience it.
Yep, there are a few things more magical than a sloth on a power line.
Well, yeah, that's not very great, but you see them crossing the power lines because they keep their vines.
Oh, right. Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
that's pretty sad, actually.
We haven't done a cruise per se. We haven't done ever. We just haven't done it's 8:15, be back here at 12:15. That defies the point of a vacation in our mind.
Yeah.
Granted, not everybody can take out their kids from school for 2 or 3 months and go down and actually live in a country. But being able to do that, we have seen a lot of Costa Rica, pretty much all of Costa Rica. So we can speak to the places. If you only have a week, if you only have 2 weeks, go to these places.
Right.
This last trip that we've just gotten back from, we actually had, over the span of those 2 months, we had 4 separate families come down with us. And we said, okay, we're going to be in Costa Rica. We're going to be in these areas during these times. What is it you want to do, and what is it that you want to see? And we were able to get all 4 of those families in the places they wanted to see, the things they wanted to do in that time. Mm-hmm. It was Costa Rica. It's a quarter of the size of the state of Utah. So size-wise, it's small. Mm-hmm. However, it has I forget numbers off the top of my head. It's so concentrated with different ecosystems, with different geography, the amount of animals that are crammed in there. And there are no freeway systems, as you know. The roads are decent, but think of your most windy canyon mountain road, and then throw a couple pineapple and sugarcane trucks on there to slow you down to 10, 15 miles an hour. That's what your travel looks like. Like she was saying, the scenery is gorgeous, but to get from point A to point B can take some time. And we've figured out some of the logistics. We have figured out some of the, let's hit this spot, this spot, this spot, and this spot, so that we can use our time wisely and our travel time wisely. We've been able to figure some of that stuff out.
And it is true. Like if you plan your trip yourself, you can look at the map and you're like, oh, that's only 20 miles from that place. But truly, it could take you 5 hours depending on which roads. So that's why you need someone to tell you like where to go and what to do, because you could literally spend so much time in the car if you don't leave at the right time of day and you don't really know the road systems. But don't let the road systems scare you. It is one of the most fun parts about Costa Rica, is going down these roads and just taking in everything around you and going through these little towns, stopping by these amazing fruit stands as you're driving along. Like, just don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a rush. So we talk about that it's better. Like, let's say you have 7 days in Costa Rica. It's better to limit your time to like 2 main places and just really get to know and explore that, versus trying to go from like the Caribbean coast over to the Pacific coast in a short amount of time. Because, I mean, there's magic everywhere and you're going to just want to go back. But if you try to cram too many places in, you kind of lose a little bit of that experience. And
I totally agree with you on that map. It's like 22 miles or 30 miles, and you're like, oh, yeah, I can totally do that in like half hour. And next thing you know, it's 4 hours later, and you're still stuck behind a cow walking on the road maybe, or a sugarcane truck.
Very true.
One of the things I want to throw out there, too, is so when we've gone, we've rented a car, like when we've gone with our family, obviously, because we've been there for longer periods of time. But this last October, I took like 14 girls out there on a girls' trip. And it was so amazing to have you guys come pick us up at the airport in a super nice van. Yeah. We all got to hang out the entire time together. And you guys just drove us everywhere. Like, we didn't even have to think about where we were going.
Wi-Fi.
We didn't have to think about where we were going or what we were doing. Like, seriously, the girls on that trip, we still have a thread and we talk about it all the time, that we want to plan another girls' trip to get back out there.
And that's one of the big questions probably most often we're asked is, okay, should we rent a car? Should we get a driver? Should we have a tour guide? What should we do? And you can speak to this on the pricing side of things. In many cases, it's almost a wash to actually go rent your own car, or to get a driver with a car that also comes along with your own personal tour guide.
Right. It's going to be a little bit more, because you'll end up paying for the hotel or the place for your driver to stay if you have them with you the whole time. But realistically, by the time, what's so frustrating to us is when we're planning these out. So I can go online and I can book my airfare, and they'll try to upsell you into a rental car. And when you buy that rental car, they'll be like, oh, it's only like $200 or $300. I had one the other day that was like $16 for the week. I mean, come on, that's not going to happen.
So many taxes.
Oh man.
Double, like whatever it says online, you expect to pay double.
We went when we looked. I actually had Walter look into, like, how is this even like legit? And he was in San Jose that day. I said, "Will you just drive over there and ask him what's going to happen if these guys come and try and do this?" And in the end, when they were going to be booking that little mini car, it was like $800 and something. And they thought that. So I've seen that happen time and time again when people are like, "I can just do my own car." When the problem is, they'll go online and you'll get there and you're in the country and you don't have a choice, and they'll start taxing you and putting all these things. Oh, it's a required fee, and then you just have a bad taste in your mouth from the get-go when you go through that. So realistically, we can take care of the whole thing for you, and it's going to be a fair stand-up price, and then you're not.
We did
surprised.
that. We had that experience where we rented a car. It said X amount. We got there, and it was like $400 more by the time you pay everything. And it's not that they're trying to be shady or anything, but I think there's just such a difference between U.S. pricing versus Costa Rica pricing, and like their systems really haven't connected yet. So when you get over there, there's tourist tax and there's different insurances that they require that a lot of people think, oh, well, my Visa card covers that. But a lot of times, like if you're out of the country, your Visa card won't cover your rentals. I thought we had that coverage, and when we asked, they didn't.
Well, we did have that coverage, but they also had their mandatory coverage.
Right.
And a driver and transportation, it's not for everybody. But again, with the amount of time we've spent down there, we've now found that small handful of companies that has upfront, out the door, correct pricing.
Right.
So we can get people to those companies. You don't want to use a company like Economy that's just going to rake you over the coals with all these extra fees, extra days. They're a joke.
Adobe's been our best.
But there's a couple other companies like Adobe and Vamos that Amazing Vacations can go through and hook people up with that are upfront and have the best pricing and great vehicles.
And don't get an economy car. No. Don't do it. Like the roads in Costa Rica, like you will not be able to see anything. We rented was it an all-wheel drive
this
car
year or
last year? This year.
This year, no, it was an SUV, but it was a front-wheel drive.
Yeah, front-wheel drive. No, like.
Yeah, there were places that we all got to know Jesus real quick praying down some of these roads, because man, it was.
The tires were kind of bald.
Tires were bald. It was gutless. We'd have to ramp up to get up these just in driveways. We got stuck in driveways.
I don't think we didn't book that car for you, right? That wasn't us that did that to you.
No, we did that on our own. Yeah. The one last year that Walter helped us out with was an all-wheel drive. We could take it on the beach. We tried to take this same car on the beach where we went last year. And we met some nice people from Connecticut who helped us push the car off the beach.
Off the stand. So four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, do not go cheap on your rental car.
So I know I want to talk about family stuff, but you mentioned your mom trip or your girls trip down there. So I'm sure there's some girls out there like, oh my gosh, I want to take friends down and go on this girls trip. Tell them, what do they need to know if you're giving the little overview for the moms that are like, as soon as I get out of this quarantine, I need a break from my kids, or we got to go do this in the fall. What would you tell people?
So basically, literally, you just call your girlfriends and you say, look, we've been doing mom family stuff. It is time to get away. Let's go play. I literally did not have any problem. Like, there are 14 of our girlfriends that just jumped right in, and we had the time of our lives. It was so amazing. So, I mean, price range-wise, like, we went to... Okay, you have to go to Torrealba. If you're going to go to Costa Rica, Torrealba is like where it's at.
That's where we start. So much. We start and stop our trip.
Yeah, in Torrealba. But there we went and we did the Pacuate River. We stayed in jungle camp, and that was so magical, like so amazing. In fact, two of the girls on our trip, two of my friends ended up bringing their families back with us this last October because they're like, our family has to experience that. And truly, when I first heard about like going on the river, my thought of Costa Rica was we're going to go to the beach, we're going to see sloths, we're going to hang out in the ocean. Like rivers, because I never had really done that before, I didn't really think of that being something that was going to be so amazing. But it is truly, because you guys helped set us up with that, and Kris went out on that Week of Rivers trip with you. That was it's our favorite memory still, is doing the Pacuate River with our family. It was so cool.
And you say jungle camp, that makes, when I say camp, they hear camp, people get really nervous. Like the moms are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go camping. I'm not going to Costa Rica to camp with spiders and snakes.
It's Family Robinson. It's like Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, my friends were worried, like we're a little nervous about that too, but I'm like, you have to just trust me. I wouldn't even tell them anything about it until we got there, because it is just that special. Like if I had one place in the world that I could go to just escape the world and have the most beautiful scenery and accommodations, it's jungle camp, period. So it's just a little hike off the river. So imagine you're in the most majestic jungle with the coolest guides ever. You're just having a blast going down these just awesome rapids. So when you think of rapids, you think you're going to be like this, right? Or you're going to go down like steep, I don't know, cliffs or something. But I like how Kris explained that the class of rapids is just kind of the technical difficulty to get around things. It's not necessarily that you're like this, you know? Mm-hmm. So I took the girls on that. We had a blast. Went up to jungle camp. You have this little hike up into this most beautiful, these like beautiful bungalows that are like nestled up in this rainforest, and there's nobody around. I mean, it's just, you just see panoramic views all around you of just the jungle and the sounds and the birds and the frogs. And, you know, Walter and his crew cooks the most amazing dinner by candlelight. There's no electricity, so you are forced to unplug, which is so fun. There's hammocks and rocking chairs, and you literally just sit there and you get served the most delicious food. You sleep in these gorgeous bungalows that are very comfortable. There's no bugs, like nothing
beds.
like that.
They're beds. When you hear camp, you think sleeping bag. And
we should call it the Eco Lodge.
Really nice beds.
You're in hotel beds in these jungle bungalows. There's no power, but there is warm water, mm-hmm. So you have a place to get clean, shower, eat well. It's a 5-star resort, Swiss Family Robinson style, in the jungle.
Yep, in the middle of paradise. Like, it is so spectacular. So you sleep there overnight, wake up, have an amazing breakfast, and then you hike back down to this same river and finish the stretch of river the next day. Like, just so
you don't have to hike out immediately the next morning.
Yeah,
there's a platform for a Tarzan swing that sends you 100-some feet over the river and back, and there's a small series of zip lines that takes you through the canopy there. It's not just a run in, eat, shower, and take off. You can spend some good time there just hanging out.
And then when we went back with this family trip, a couple of the kids were too young to finish the second part of the river, so we actually went out on horseback, which was so fun. Our kids loved it. We took horses right out.
We went
down
through the jungle on a horse with no name. We did it the whole time in the rain. It rained on us the whole time out. But we went from jungle camp through the jungle on these horses and ended at a butterfly garden. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yep, we got to go see butterflies. And so we did that on the girls' trip, and then we left from there, went to this really cool resort. Like, I don't even remember the name of it, but Walter hooked us up with this most beautiful, fun resort that we went to. Stayed the night there, and then we went down to Manuel Antonio, stayed in La Mansión Inn, and just had a ball down there. We went whale watching. We got to go and see turtles nesting their eggs at night. I mean, if you just think of all the fun, relaxing things you could do. We had massages on the beach. Like, Walter seriously set
Walter
up the
gave
coolest,
all the massages. All the 14 girls, he just lined them up.
I don't believe that.
No, but really, it was a really cool mixture of just adventure and relaxing and just fun girl time. We had ocean time, pool time, hot tub time. It was really
it was killer. I didn't get one phone call about, are the dishes done? Is the laundry done? Did you take out the garbage? She just forgot that we were even here. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys have been down there a lot of times during the year. So you've been down there in kind of January, September. I mean, what, in your opinion, for like a girls' trip or a family trip, when is a good time to be down there?
Man, so here's the thing, and I'm not being funny. There's not a bad time to go down there. When you and I went down, we were in
October.
The rainy season, and people think rainy season in October. It did rain, but it wasn't 24/7. If you're going to do the rivers, you're going to have to watch that because the levels are up and down. We've been there. The bulk of our time has been through January, February, March. That's the tail end. You shouldn't be seeing much rain. It starts to warm up.
In the summer.
It honestly, there's not a bad time to go because it depends on what you want to see. The time that we've spent in the Caribbean, we've been snorkeling over there. We were going to go scuba diving this last time, but it was churned up and the guides didn't even want to go scuba diving. So for the Caribbean side, everybody that lives over there is saying, hey, if you want to see the crystal clear as everybody sees the pictures of the Caribbean, you want to be doing that more in the July time period before the rains hit, because then they say that's when it's just crystal clear. Nobody's there. That's another thing to touch on is their tourist season really is, again, and December to March. It starts to tail down right around now. Easter is kind of when it kills. So that December to March, April is when you go to places and they're relatively crowded.
It's a drier season, so I think people feel safer because there's not supposed to be as much rain.
And it's people from around the world that are on a different time clock. For instance, down there, our kids' summer, obviously, is June, July, August. they're out of school there till end of December, January, February, March. So it's the seasons and things are flipped. So there isn't a bad time to go. It just depends on what exactly it is you want to see and what you want to do.
Right.
So even in rainy season, it's still 80 degrees outside. Right. So it actually feels good to have the rain, and also the more rain, the more wildlife. So if you want to go experience, the turtles nesting, all of the jungle life, like when it's at its prime, it's going to be during the wetter seasons. So we went in October on a girls' trip, and it sprinkled like a few times, just lightly. But we did what was supposed to be really rainy season on the Pacific side, and it barely rained. So it was perfect because we saw so much wildlife. And then, for instance, we went in January for a couple weeks, and it literally rained and poured on us in the Caribbean for 2 weeks solid. And it wasn't supposed to be.
It's the dry season, right?
Yeah, so just book your trip when it works good for you. Don't necessarily be so freaked out, because literally we had so much fun. And it rained every day, and we literally just laughed, and it was warm, and it's just not a big deal.
And I think June through August, when school's out down here, June tends to be a little bit wetter, but really what happens usually is it will build clouds up until about 5 o'clock in the evening, and then the clouds have gotten heavy enough that then they dump on you until about 6, 7 in the morning. And you'll wake up to the rain. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this is going to be bad news. I should just stay in bed. You get up, you go eat breakfast, and usually the mist starts to clear, and you'll have blue sky the entire day in the rainy season. Yeah. So I tell people, don't worry about the rain at all. Yes, it's going to rain some days, and it might rain just like it will anywhere. It's going to rain sometimes, but that's a normal rainy season day when it's blue sky and then rains at night.
Right, and you're speaking to the southern end. If you go to the northern top of the country, I mean, it's so much more dry.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like God drew a line and said, okay, rain from here down, and up here it's a lot more dry. We like I said, we start and stop in Turrialba. That's base. We love the rivers, we love the people, we love the town, even the drive over there, and from there it's a good little hub to go other places. And then that northwest part of the country is what we've kind of fallen in love with as our...
Yeah, the Guanacaste area is really beautiful. The beaches are really beautiful there. We love that.
Yep.
And then the south, I know when we first went to Costa Rica, I thought you just saw sloths all over Costa Rica, but you really are not going to see them unless you're in the south, closer to Uvita, Manuel Antonio area. That's where all of that wildlife is going to be. We have seen some sloths in Turrialba and a few up in Arenal, but if you want to see wildlife, you got to get further south. You will not see any up north. You will not see sloths up north. You'll see monkeys
and iguanas.
But even different types of monkeys are from the middle of Costa Rica down.
Right.
So that's a good thing for people to know.
Right. Well, so you guys have taken kids down. I think that's another thing even for me. I mean, I've been down there lots of times, but for the kids, if I'm a parent and maybe I've got a picky eater, I got a kid that's a little tentative, what advice do you have for? I mean, your kids are kind of crazy, and we probably ought to just ask them. What's the kid's favorite?
Here's Kai.
Kai, what's your favorite part about Costa Rica? So you're teenager, right? So you're how old?
I'm 14.
14. Okay, so for a 14-year-old, what's the best part about Costa Rica?
Just doing all the rivers and meeting all the people and just interacting with the locals and everybody there.
Yeah. And River, I can see about half your face there. You're a little cut off, but there you go. So River, what's your favorite part? What have you enjoyed most about Costa Rica? What advice do you have for kids?
Definitely the rivers and stand-up paddleboarding.
Stand-up paddleboarding. And so do you?
Can you see what's in his hand?
And it looks like a black flashlight. Okay,
so this kid is going to be probably maybe your first the first American guide you send down there with Maze Vacations. His birthday was yesterday, and this was the top of his list for things.
Well, he's got a green little laser going on.
It's a green laser pointer. This is what the guides use when you go on the nature hikes to go. They say, there's the sloth, there's the bat, there's the snake, there's the monkey. Yeah. So we've all been getting flashes of green laser in our eyes since
nice.
Yesterday.
It's coming through on my end, Kai. River. Awesome. And are you the one that always finds the frogs, or who's the frog finder in your family? It's this guy.
This yeah.
So
Cuéntale de la comida.
What?
Cuéntale de la comida. ¿Qué te gusta de la comida y la vida de Costa Rica?
About the food.
he's asking about the food. What do you like most about the food?
That. Yeah, the chicken and rice and beans and but there's this one place that we went to called Mirador. Their chicken there, that was my favorite place to eat probably because of the chicken. And then just wherever I want, I'd always get rice and beans and mainly just eat the rice and beans because that was always my favorite, and the mashed potatoes.
Got it. So is there you guys own a food truck? Is there chicken in the future for a food truck maybe?
Now we'll just go to Costa
We
Rica.
weaseled some of the secret recipes out of some people, so we just might have to start that up. Yeah, but when you mentioned picky eaters and whatnot, there's nothing down there that is just so odd or out there that people have to worry about. Oh no, should I or can I eat this stuff?
Yeah, it's not Mexican food.
Yeah,
it's not tacos.
It's different food. It's Mexico, South America, they all have their own uniqueness, their own special things, and Costa Rica has its own special things, but there's nothing weird. We get that question a lot from families. Oh, well, my kid's a picky eater. He only likes yogurt and bologna. It's like, well, you're not going to find a whole lot of that, but it's not weird stuff that you can't handle. It's a lot of simple fruit. Fruit is always in season down there, so there's a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables. They have a healthy beef market down there, so there is a lot of meat, beef, chicken, with their special spices, but it's good food. We all like the food.
They eat how people should eat.
Right.
Like you go out there and you have the most delicious food, and it's all local. It's
Even
all
in schools.
prepared in season. Like they eat better than anyone else in the United States. I can almost guarantee you.
Well, Kite River just said even in the schools, we went and visited some of the schools. The kids started up school towards the end of our trip. The schools have cooks, like actual chefs that are in the school and cook up meals for the kids. It's not, they don't go through and scoop this like they do here. Granted, the numbers are greater, but we walked into these cafeterias and the kids were sat down to what would be like a family Sunday meal here in the States. They eat really well.
It wasn't processed. It wasn't just you get a roll out of plastic bags.
Uncrustable.
Yeah, Uncrustable. They actually they had meat. They had just tons of vegetables and fruits and all that stuff on their plate.
So what did they do after they got done eating? Everyone in school, after they're done eating lunch, has to
Brush their teeth.
Really?
Brush their teeth. Yeah. Yeah, they would all eat, go brush their teeth, and then one of the schools we went to, their recess was they divided up in teams and they played soccer, and the first team to 3 would win, and that was recess. As soon as that third goal went in, it was straight back to the classroom.
So did they drag that out a little bit more if they were trying to?
I could see where that was happening. Yeah, a few fumbled balls. When it was 2-2, the ball started going out of bounds a lot more often.
Nice.
Yeah.
So River, you're.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to have River introduce his sister behind him there.
This
Awesome.
is McKay.
Hi,
This is the
McKay.
caboose. This is the caboose.
McKay, how
McKay.
old are you?
I'm 9.
9?
Almost 10.
And so you weren't able to do some of the other river stuff. So tell if for the younger kids, what's the most awesome stuff in Costa Rica for the younger kids?
Well, so while she's thinking, there's kind of a standard of below 12 years old doesn't do the tail end, say, of the Pacuari River. But some of that is relative to the child. So all of our kids have done the full Pacuari. What happened on this last trip is overnight it rained so much that none of us were able to do the second stretch of the Pacuari River. So that one didn't have too much to do with age. I think that's what maybe caught her off guard when you said for the kids kind of thing. But this last trip, none of us, Walter pulled the safety card and said, none of us are going down this second stretch of the Pacuari so that everybody could stay safe, including Walter and the other guys. Pero para los niños, para los niños, ¿a ti qué te gusta más de Costa Rica? Mírale a él, dile a él.
Jungle camp.
Jungle camp? Why jungle camp? What do you like about jungle camp?
I like their food and the little bungalows.
The bungalows?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you see any animals, or did you do a zip line there too?
No, we didn't zip line, but we did see parrots and really pretty birds.
We also saw a scary snake.
Saw fertile
Yeah,
ants.
we saw fertile ants and we killed it.
So
We didn't. We had a professional come in because it was getting too close to one of the bungalows.
Got it.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, that was scary.
Crazy.
Well, one thing too that I wanted to just say. So sometimes when you talk about snakes or bugs, people get freaked out.
Yep.
And they're like, we're not going to go there because we don't want to get bit or we don't want to see. No, like you guys came. First of all, you're in the rainforest. What makes Costa Rica beautiful? It's because of the rain and how green and lush and beautiful it is. And 80% of everything comes out in the middle of the night. You don't even see it. So the bugs, all of that stuff, it's up in the jungle. There's so much for them to eat and worry about that, like, you are the least of their concerns. So if you see a snake, it's not like they come up to you. It's
Right.
not like they're going to jump out and bite you. It's like, if you're in a rural place, you may see one every once in a while, but it's not ever, you're never in danger of it. Like, there's such a respect for wildlife out there, and you just have to remember that unless you are provoking something, like a snake or spider or whatever, it's not going to do anything to you. So
Right.
don't not go to Costa Rica because you're worried about bugs, because that would seriously be the saddest thing in the world.
But and you guys,
We've done a couple of night walks.
so you guys have been down there like 6 months the last 2 years, you said, and so I've been down there probably about 6 weeks or so of the last 2 years, and I think in that total time, I've seen one snake, unless it was in the little zoo enclosure areas where they actually have them like in cages. And I've actually gone out looking to see, oh, okay, this would be really cool to go find some stuff. I've seen one. So I'm sure, I know they're there if you're looking for them, but there's probably not as much as if you're just randomly walking around, you're not going to usually run across them.
No.
Unless you know where to look. We've been on a couple night walks now. Diamante Falls.
Yep.
And we did the night walk there after sunset, and in a stretch of 20 or 30 feet, we saw 2 fertile ants.
Wow.
We saw scorpion spiders. We saw scorpions. We saw a few tarantulas.
Jungle
We saw a couple
cockroaches.
eyelash vipers. God, I mean, but we weren't in a touristy spot.
Right.
We were in their element, and we saw it. So
With the guide that's showing you, right? They know where to look.
Right. Yeah. And so there's the flip. There's people that don't want to go to Costa Rica because of the wildlife. Then the flip side is that's why most people go to Costa Rica is for the wildlife. And it's just a matter of knowing where it's at, go with the right people, and you'll find what you're looking for, or you can stay away from what you don't want to see.
Well, and the places that you stay, they're all sprayed. So, I mean, it's not like you are staying in these bug-infested places. Like, they're very conscious of making sure that, like, everything's always clean there. And the hotels there, they're not like 5-star resort hotels like you're going to get here. Well, you can have that, but just know that no matter where you go, you are going to have clean places to stay. People take such pride in hosting you and having you stay at their place. And I love that there's so many local restaurants and hotels out there. Like, there are a few like big chains that come in, but they don't allow high-rise Cancun style, hotels and things. So you have to remember that when you go to Costa Rica, for the most part, you really are supporting the local people there to have their lifestyle. Like, they take pride in bringing you in, cooking for you, providing a clean, nice, comfortable place for you to stay. And for us, we would much rather travel and support Amazing Vacation Costa Rica, where we know that money is going into the hands of the people who are there doing all the hard work. You're not paying some big corporation to get richer. You're literally supporting the people on the ground making things happen in Costa Rica.
And I know right now more than any time, I just talked to Walter yesterday. I mean, the country is shut down with the border. I mean, they've been really cautious. What's interesting, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, but there was some report they had about the medical system down there. And apparently Costa Rica has the third best medical system in whatever survey they'd done in the entire world. So I don't know whether, I think it was U.S. and Germany, and then Costa Rica was like right behind them. So I don't know. Have you guys been to the hospitals or the medical clinics down there at all? And some
we have seen some. We were there with the family towards the end of our trip. And
probably went to the bad one.
Kai's got the scars to prove it. Tell him what happened, Kai.
So
In a nutshell.
we were in an Airbnb, and we were with the family, and we were pushing each other in the pool, like just shoving each other in the pool just for fun. And I got shoved in right on top of another girl coming up to get air, and my kneecap went in her mouth and busted her top tooth off.
Completely snapped her adult tooth right off.
And her tooth went into my kneecap and came out. And it was such a clean cut that I didn't know that it had sliced my knee. So I was trying to see if she was okay, see the whole situation, and then I walked off, and I looked down, and my knee's gushing blood, and I could see the cartilage on my kneecap, and it was disgusting.
It was
just about passed out.
It was pretty bad. That was on a Sunday afternoon, and we made a few phone calls. Long story short, within an hour or so, we were in a surf town called Nosara.
Mm-hmm.
We were in a very nice surgical dental clinic where they were able to clean, pretty much gave this gal a root canal and reattach. We found the tooth and preserved it, and they were able to reattach it. It was in a matter of an hour and a half. I've spent a few years, about 8-10 years in the medical field, and we're in a little surf town in Costa Rica, and the facilities and the equipment they had there was state of the art, absolutely state of the art. I've also lived a few years in Mexico, and Costa Rica is a much smaller country than Mexico, but Costa Rica was on par. I'm not surprised by that study you just shared with us. What we've seen of their medical clinics, dental clinics, etc. The medical clinic shared a thing with the dental clinic. State-of-the-art equipment, top-of-the-line education. In fact, the family that we were there with is from Georgia. Coming home, they went to a dentist to have things checked out, and it was an orthodontist or surgical dentist. He looked at it and said, "This is better than what I could have done."
Wow.
So this guy did such a good job. I don't even need to touch.
And it was very inexpensive too. The X-rays and everything was.
Oh yeah, the whole
like
thing. The X-rays.
Of what you'd pay.
A quarter of your copay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go down there. For those things. Costa Rica is a very small country in Central America. Their culture is very straightforward and very simple. But when people ask me the differences of the other places we've traveled, the best way I can say it is it's a very formal, very educated, and a properly proud country. Not proud like, oh, I'm Costa Rican, and it's a license plate and it's a gang. They're just proud of what they have.
Right.
And they don't feel like they have to be flashy about it. But they're very formal, they're very educated, and they're very proud. It's a very stable, strong, peaceful country.
Right.
Safe.
Very safe.
Well, and I think as we get through this coronavirus, I think one of the biggest things for them down there is getting people to realize, hey, this is a good place to travel. Let's say you did go get sick down there. There's probably not a lot of places in the world that'd be better if there was an actual problem to be. And I hope people, as they're become more educated about Costa Rica, that's not going to be a deterrent for them. Because there are places that I probably wouldn't recommend for people to go for the next 6 or 12 months, or maybe even more. I just don't know. But given the situation, I can tell you, in talking to Walter, I mean, they found out their internet provider actually shut down, and this internet provider, I guess, had focused on only taking care of tourists. They had a whole bunch of tourism industry type of clients, over almost 700, he said. And he said a lot of those places have just completely shut down and quit paying. And so the internet provider that was working with us completely just turned off and said, sorry, we're not in business anymore. So we're looking for a new internet provider. We're not going away. But the sad thing is all these little mom and pop shops down there doing the tourism, you just turned off a faucet and there's nothing down there because the border's shut down. But as soon as that does open up, I hope it's June, maybe it's July, but I would just hope that, as people, maybe if they hear this interview, when we get into July or August, September, the prices for flights are going to be stupid cheap to get down there. And
yeah, we were looking in October. You can get round trip right now for like $320. I didn't want to say that because we got to get our book, but seriously, like there's no reason not to go to Costa Rica.
Let me add to what you're saying about just how conscientious they are. We've been in contact with some friends down there in the Turrialba area. There's not a single confirmed case of the coronavirus, of COVID-19 in Turrialba, and yet they've got quarantine, they've got curfew, they're limiting people and no families on the streets and in stores, in grocery stores. They don't have a single case. Here where we're at, we're multiplying the cases, and we haven't even gotten to that point of such strict guidelines. They are so conscientious of just health and environment and conservation that they're saying, well, if we don't have it, let's not get it, and let's hunker down, because they see the value in taking care of things now before it gets too far down the road.
Right.
So we're very confident in the fact that when things blow over with all of this, Costa Rica, their economy is going to need more people to get down there, but they're going to be ready and prepared to take care of the people that come.
Well, and I think doing it right, I think one of the things that would make me nervous is doing the big busloads of people or going to these massive hotels. I mean, in a lot of ways, those type of places can be similar to the cruise ship environment. And so I told Walter, I says, we're actually set up, I think, to be in a better situation where you're going to bring 2 or 3 families max, maybe 16, 18 girls on a girls trip or, a special trip. And you're exposed to each other anyway, but it's not going to be this huge exposure. It's going to be the group that you came with, and you're not sharing germs with hundreds of other people on the trips we do.
Right.
So, Jason, I feel like you deserve a shout out because you went to Costa Rica. You saw, like, on your own on vacation, saw an amazing opportunity in Walter, fell in love with the people out there, and look what you've created. Like, this is so cool that you've created this platform for the people in Costa Rica to sustain themselves out there.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you.
Kudos to you for putting this all together, because your heart is in the right place in all of this, and you have really blessed the lives of so many people out there by creating this company. So we are very happy to spread the word any way we can.
You are kind. I couldn't have done it without a lot of awesome people. I'm just a little small sliver in a giant foundation that's a lot bigger than me. So, yeah.
But I think people like to support local. I think they like to support small businesses, and really that's the foundation of our country. We have to keep doing that.
Right.
Well, and it's even from a business standpoint, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of gringos that don't want to turn over their whole family and funding to somebody they don't know, to a company that might be run in another country. So from a business standpoint, it's been a confidence builder for many people that ask us about Amazing Vacations, is that we can say, hey, it's based here. This is how I usually put it, is, hey, Jason started this thing up, got the ball rolling, and kind of handed the keys over to Walter and said, hey, this is your baby. I'm here to help you, but go do this thing. So between people knowing that you are the United States roots to this company and that they're taking care of and able to help the locals in Costa Rica, it's a good marriage. It's a good business blend. Yeah. It gives them the confidence that they're being taken care of by someone that they can know and trust on both ends.
Right. And I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and they were saying, and just with the travel industry in general, you've got a lot of these companies that aren't doing refunds, and they've got, Walter was telling me, I guess there's one company that does the education stuff and brings trips of kids down, and they've worked with the schools, and they're not refunding any of these money for the trips. And I'm just like, we both agree, they're like, that's not right to do that. As a company, you need to do what's right, and even if that means you're not going to make a lot of money or you're going to lose money in the short term, you do what's right, and it's going to come back to you, and you'll be fine in the long run. If you've been smart about how you do what's right, and it always comes around full circle on you.
It does.
Well, we had some family friends that had booked a trip with you guys and then found out the next day that their dad went into hospice and was expected to pass. And you guys were so great at just being like, no, you guys go there, you spend your time with him. We'll work this out later. So. And
I think you treat people the way you'd want to be treated. And I've really tried hard for everybody on the team to just make sure that's. I tell them, you're empowered to make decisions. If that means you're going to give them $1,000 back or $10,000 back because that's the right thing to do, I've told them, we will never criticize you or get mad at you for doing it. You know, you do what you feel is right, and we'll support you, 100%. And I think it's trickled down to the rest of the team, and it's been really fun over this last few weeks and months to see people doing the right thing without feeling like they have to go to the boss or whoever to get approval to do it. So
if I had to say anything in a nutshell about Costa Rica, I know we've talked about a lot of stuff. I would just say that, like, from a mom's perspective, when you're going and you're bringing your family to a place that maybe you've never been before or you're feeling a little bit nervous or uncomfortable about, I 100% support this company. Like, we know all of the people behind the scenes, and they all have families, and it's such a safe place to go. And I can promise, if you will trust in these guys, that they are going to take good care of you from the moment you step off the airplane until the moment that you fly back home. Like, your safety is their number one concern. Not once have we ever felt unsafe or uncomfortable in the 5 months or whatever that we've spent in Costa Rica. The people are beautiful. They are accommodating. They welcome you. They're educated. They're so happy that you're there, that they get to show their country to you. And we've traveled a lot of different places, and not always have we felt so welcomed, or not always have we felt like we could just rent a car and drive around by ourselves, because it's just not safe. Costa Rica is not that place. Your kids are going to experience things, and you're going to experience things that you will never see other places, but you really need to experience it. And like I said, not just hit the big touristy spots. Like, get people that know what they're doing to take care of you, every step.
Well, and I'll just throw this out. You guys helped us several months ago to put together some of these family trips. So I was talking with Walter. We have put together several kind of family adventure trip blocks on the weeks coming up all the way through the end of the year. And so if there's families, anybody that's listening onto this still, if you've got a couple of families that want to come down, the ideal number, I think, is somewhere between like 12 and maybe 20. 16 is kind of that nice number, but most of the buses will hold about 20, 22 people. But I like having some seats between people just to make it more comfortable. But anybody that's looking to come down with 3 or 4 families, I'm planning on coming down at the end of July. I'm going to block out that time, and as long as the borders open up, we're totally coming down. And August is an amazing time. September, you were there in September. It was awesome. And we've started. I know they've started taking reservations, and we've cut our reservation cost way down. We just need to know for blocking out the rooms, but we would love to fill up all of the weeks, especially as soon as we can, sometime in July. And then also what I told Walter is if for some reason people can't travel in July and they paid a deposit, we'll just roll that over to whenever they can come. So we're being super flexible with people, but given with what flight prices are, I think you're crazy not to go down. Salt Lake normally is like $800 to $1,200 sometimes to fly down, and round trip. And if it 360 is like a no-brainer. I mean, I'll do that all day long.
Yeah, they're cheap now. We usually pay anywhere from $450 to $550 round trip. I mean, you can get it for that for sure, but yeah, I'm
waiting until last minute sometimes, unfortunately, so I have to pay. I pay the price. Anyway.
Yeah, well, we've talked about doing a family trip in December too. So I mean, we'll throw that out there. We want to go and take some people to some of our favorite places. So if there's anybody here watching that would like to maybe do that, I mean, we're talking about it, obviously, the beginning stages of maybe going down there during like the Christmas, New Year's break, possibly. So.
And just heads up for anybody watching this, when it comes to planning stuff over Christmas through New Year's, if you try to plan something in November or later, or maybe even October, you are going to have one heck of a time finding a good spot. So honestly, like now, if you're thinking December, January, let's get it on the calendar now and let us get a little reservation block in there for you, because otherwise you'll end up in, I mean, there's lots of nice places and there's lots of not so nice places that are the leftovers that, aren't as awesome to stay at. So anyway.
Hey, one more thing on from my end. One of the biggest questions we have is, okay, what's the easiest way for people to get in touch with you guys and get those quotes and start putting together a vacation plan.
Sure.
A lot of time we send them personally to either you or directly to Walter. But for the general public, what's the easiest way for them to get a quote and get a plan on their vacation?
Yep, AmazingVacationsCostaRica.com. You go out to the website. We've got tons of pictures out there. There's example trips. We've got a schedule of like some of these week of rivers and a week of adventure. If we do the mom trips, if you're like, man, I think I can get 5 or 6 people, let us know and we will help you coordinate that. And if you want, we can open it up to a few other moms. And usually what happens is we just need a couple of people to decide we're going to Costa Rica. And as soon as they share that with their friends, there's a half dozen other people that want to come. It's not a hard sell once you realize what you're getting. So, AmazingVacationsCostaRica.com. We've got Lisa that's in Colorado. She's probably the one that'll follow up directly with you.
Great.
She works with the team down in Costa Rica to put together we try to go with a standardized trip, but then we always add some customizations, and we keep trying to get away from that, but there's too many cool things down there to not throw in the customizations.
It's what's so hard
there's
to
too many variables. You can't just pick there's no box vacation.
No, and my new favorite, I think I got to do every trip now, is the chocolate tour now. Oh my gosh.
So like all you can eat.
All you can
chocolate.
eat.
They make it right there with like what I didn't realize when I was down there a couple weeks ago is there's South American cocoa or cacao beans, and then there's most of the chocolate we eat all comes from Africa. But the cocoa trees that are in South America and kind of that I guess Honduras, Costa Rica area, there's a fungus that usually takes about 80% of the fruit and kills it and makes it so it's not usable. But the ones that don't get affected by it, oh my gosh, it's I've never experienced any chocolate like that in my life. It's so good.
Yeah, I love dark chocolate now, and I didn't really know what dark chocolate really tasted like.
It doesn't taste like dark chocolate, though. It's so good.
So good. It actually melts in your mouth.
It's not bitter.
Yep. Anyway, so if you haven't done the chocolate tour, that's my new favorite, along with all the river stuff. But I got to take my family back there because it's awesome. And also, and Kris, you told me this, so you got to remember, if you do the chocolate tour, make sure you eat all the chocolate you can because they throw it away. Anything you don't eat, they throw it away.
Right. Yeah, so the guide kept saying, okay, there was only maybe 8 or 10 people in our group, and then she kept saying, okay, come, have more, and people, oh, this is great, okay, put it down, oh, this is good, okay, put it down. And I kind of went back to the back, and it's a bonus of speaking Spanish down there. I said, I don't want to look like a hog taking all this stuff up. I said, but what happens to it? And she said, what you guys don't drink right now, I just have to throw away anyways. And so I turned and announced that to the group and said, they're not kidding when they say, come get all you want because it's going to go to waste. And then, boom, everybody came down and started chugging it back. So it's not like leave the extra piece of pizza there so you're not that guy.
Right.
Go eat it. Go drink it. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that, and so I had like 3 or 4, and I already thought I was the fat gringo guy that just wanted to get on just crazy amounts, but it was good. So anyway, well, cool. Stuff. Well, thanks so much for taking time. I know we've gone way longer than what we even expected, but hopefully people enjoy seeing this. And another time what we need to do is we need to talk about Gallo Pinto. Maybe we get Walter on one of these calls and have him explain how to do the chicken or how to do this Gallo Pinto live on a Facebook Live. So,
yeah, the food is amazing.
But yeah, appreciate you guys, and stay safe. And like they're telling us, let's stay healthy. And as soon as we open the border back up, we'd love to get people back down there. But
yeah, we'll be back.
Don't wait to schedule your trip because the sooner you can get on at least on the list with a really small deposit, a couple $100, you're going to be set up. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're easy to find on social media, especially her on the whole Facebook thing, whatever. Feel free to reach out, ask us questions. Yeah. What should we do? How can we do this? Bend our ear a little bit. We're happy to help, happy to share.
Yep.
One of these days we need to do like a survivor recreation, like a luxury survivor trip
in
for
Survivor or in Costa Rica.
We can have you host a survivor trip. We can go down there and do some fun stuff like that. So anyway, cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Right.
Pura vida.
Pura vida.
Adios.